So I'm with Ben Wimbush right now. Ben, lovely to have you. Can you do me a favor? Can you explain what's happened to you and how you got your injury?
Yeah, no problem at all. Thanks for obviously interviewing me. Nice to speak to you. Basically, I went on a trampoline in 2011 after a boxing match at my father-in-law's house, as he was then. So I watched the boxing match. Unfortunately, the guy I was supporting didn't win. Went outside into the garden, a bit pissed off. Got on their trampoline, did a couple of somersaults. First one was good, second one not so good. Third one I got really wrong and unfortunately landed awkwardly on the trampoline and broke my neck. So that broke the third bone down from the bottom of my skull, which shattered and went into my spinal cord. And I've now got what's called an incomplete spinal cord injury, meaning that I'm a tetraplegic. So paralysed from my chest down. It's affected not just my legs, but also my hands.
Now, my next question is, how has it changed then, obviously, your day-to-day life? It's changed, clearly, but what now do you have to do maybe to keep your body in a stable state? And what do you have to do yourself, your caretaker?
I mean, listen, the main difference is that I don't really have independence in the way that you would probably think of independence. I think I do because I have people to look after me and I'm able to control my own care. So I'm able to tell them exactly what I need them to do. But I need them to literally get me out of bed using a hoist and a sling. Then it's a case of doing all my personal care. Then it's a case of getting me dressed, positioning me correctly in my wheelchair, and then that's just to get me up. Then there's the preparing all of my food, making sure that I'm able to get to appointments. You've obviously still got to continue living as much of an ordinary life as possible.
Of course.
But I have 24/7 care, so I'm never really on my own. That's a huge change. And although, like I say, some people would say I have lost a lot of my independence, I still would like to think like I've managed to maintain as much as possible. And it can be done. You just have to accept that things don't get done in the same way that they used to get done before. You have to think outside the box a little bit.
Now, for exercise, are you doing anything right now to keep your body mobilized? What are you doing right now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have stretches done every morning and every night. That's just to keep my muscles as supple as we can.
Mm-hmm.
The way I like to think of it is like the hardware of my body isn't broken. So the hardware is like my muscles.
Mm-hmm.
It's the wiring that's broken. So ultimately the spinal cord, because it's damaged, isn't now sending the correct signals through to my muscles, and that means that I'm paralysed. However, I do use a bike called a functional electronic stimulation bike, or an FES bike, by a company called Restorative Therapies.
Okay.
It's an RT300, and what it does is it electrocutes my muscles and simulates me then pedalling a standing bike, if you like, or a stationary bike. So I use that on my lower body, and it's also got a hand function or an arm function. So I use electrical stimulation on those muscle groups as well, using small pads that stick to the skin and then wires that are then connected up to an FES stimulation box. And that's how I keep myself sort of active.
You've said that you have a clear goal of getting a new wheelchair, a power chair. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the way I've done it is I've started off talking on social media for quite a while, just raising awareness. The main way I do that is with my campaign 20's Plenty. So the idea being I didn't want to just come on and raise pure awareness about spinal cord injury. I wanted to make it broader than that. So the idea being I'm looking to get people to look after their own physical health and mental health by doing 20 minutes exercise, 20 minutes relaxation on average a day, and then sharing that on social media. And then I've got something which is called 8 with a Mate, which is designed to get people eating together, make sure that they're, or you're looking your loved ones or colleagues in the eye as often as possible, and just making sure they're all right. So 20's Plenty was used to talk to as many people as possible. I'd say the way I've then followed on to go on to crowdfunding is because the chair that I'm sat in now while you're interviewing me isn't set up correctly for me.
Right.
It was my friends on social media and through social media that it was suggested to start crowdfunding. So we're looking to raise, we think unfortunately the amount's gone up. We're looking potentially as much as £21,000 for the perfect chair for me.
Okay.
And we thought that was 16,000 to begin with. I'm in negotiations with a company and they come to show me a few different options, but you have to take professional advice. So that's the target's sort of a little bit up in the air, but I've managed to raise 7,000 so far, just through people being incredibly generous and supporting me and helping me. And yeah, the goal is to get a chair for myself that perfectly meets my needs, but also to raise as much awareness about the fact that if this is happening to me, then it's happening to other wheelchair users up and down the country. And that's a varying degrees of disability and various needs when it comes to wheelchairs. It's as always due to underfunding, and that's something that I'm passionate about raising awareness of. I am in conversation and discussions with my own MP, Lucy Powell, and a charity and support group called Disabled View UK. And we're trying to get as many people together as we can who are suffering the same sort of situation, so that, yeah, great, I get a wheelchair sorted that's right for me, but we get this situation and this discussion on the table so that other disabled people going forward really get a fair crack at the whip. And if you have got to go out and raise your own money to buy a wheelchair, then people know that and it's flagged up nice and early, and people can then start doing things like I have and raise the money over a relatively long period of time, and they're not under the stress and the strain as I have been, and in a chair that basically was giving me, and still does, extreme pain, but was causing pressure sores as well. So
Okay.
that's the goals, and that's the reason why we've gone down the crowdfunding route.
Now, along with the crowdfunding, have you had any fundraising events, and if so, what were they?
Yeah, I've had a couple actually so far. A good friend of mine, Hazel, who runs Blueberry Bangs, which is a salon down in Cholton. I've also had a really nice girl called Nicola, who, believe it or not, went to bingo for her birthday with her colleagues, and she decided if they won anything, they were going to donate it. They won £400, so she put that in. I've had a couple of donations from anonymous people who've been of several £100s, which, you know, that's humbling.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for the interview.
All right, nice one, Bob. Thanks very much.
No worries.